you getting to the point where you want to be, or do you not have the knowledge to get there? Because if you want the success, you want to be able to do all these things, you have to have the mental fortitude to stick with it.
Welcome to Drinks with Hermanos. We're here with the best keyboardist in town, maybe in the state, maybe in the country. Actually, no maybes, it's for sure. We got this bad man, never takes off his sunglasses, Brandon Fitzpatrick.
Yo.
What's going on, man?
I've been playing that all day.
Bro, yeah.
I was like, I gotta like make an entrance like it would be for Stephen A. Smith.
Oh my God.
Hyping someone up.
Bro, they never do come off. You know, we sleep with these. No, but I tell
What your sister said.
You know, I tell people. No, seriously, I tell people all the time. They say, "Man, like, I don't ever see you without shades." I say, "You will eventually. Just like wait till it's one of those days." But for now, I live in the shade. That's it.
I live in the shade. He creeping. He
Like
grinding in the shade.
Like honestly, like I'm just. It's more like a persona type deal. Like it's just I'm chilling, like chilling, but always not chilling at the same time. Working and chilling, but like this is just me staying in the shade. Like honestly, it's really a weird way of looking at it. But like people, like, man, they asked me at the show, "Oh man, can I see your eyes?" Right, chicks coming to me the show. Can I see your eyes? I said, "There's only one way you can do that, and it's not happening." It's not happening. Sorry. But it's just one of those things that keep people on their toes. They always trying to figure this out. And I'm like, it's really not a mystery. It's like, it's okay. But like everybody in time.
They'll see.
Not a biggie.
So for you guys that don't know who Brandon is, he is the band leader of the band Minor Element.
Yep,
Which is part of the Blvcksheep
Yep.
label.
Blvcksheep label. Yes, sir.
Which is also another Battle Creek organization here trying to move the culture in the area.
Yeah, so just tell us a little bit about, Blvcksheep just in general, just in case
Blvcksheep
people
Minor
don't know.
Element.
Yeah, so I could start just with the umbrella. We call Blvcksheep the umbrella because it makes sense once I break it down. So Blvcksheep is a label, and that label is comprised of jazz fusion, which is Minor Element, hip hop. We have 3 different hip hop artists: Allah, Jazz, and B Sturge, and then comprised of R&B as well. So we have an R&B artist. His name is Stampede. Goes by Black Soul. And then there, amongst that, like there's a ton of musicians and just different people, different folks that comprise this entire thing. So what we do is we make, not just music that involves jazz, music that involves hip hop, but sometimes those smack together. And it's pretty much whatever we want type of label. It's not meant to embody one particular thing. It just is that's the face that it is right now. And that was started with James McGee. James McGee is the founder. That's the artist name, Allah, the founder of Blvcksheep. And he actually started that, had the ideas to start it back in like 2011, and then really kind of worked with me in co-founding it back in 2013 is when this thing really started kicking off the ground, and things got official like 2015, and yeah, it's been rocking for sure, like strong ever since then, and we're just plugging away. And that's the label itself. So Minor is like a band that's like a jazz fusion piece. I heard this band called Snarky Puppy back in like 2014. First song that I heard off of their album. Shout out to my boy Ladarius because he showed me this band, and he showed me the song Lingus, which has one of my favorite artists now, like keyboard artist Corey Henry, playing this amazing, like ridiculous keyboard solo. And up to this point, Minor's been a band since like 2012. Our first gig was in like 2013 at Charitable Union event. It was like their annual banquet that we played at. And that was with me, Braulio, and Dominique Hall Taylor. And, you'll see different faces and people that rotate in and out and have come and gone and all this sorts of stuff. But Ladarius showed me this song, and I had no idea that like musicians could get to this level where like the focal point of the music was the instrumentalist instead of like the singer. Because all the gigs that we were playing were like background, I'll stay behind the scenes. We just need some music to cover the awkward silence. And I'm
Right.
like, well, yeah, we might be killing individuals. Like we might be playing some background BS and just I might whatever. I'm slaying, and somebody's looking at us like, dang, this cat's pretty good, you know. And that's it. That's all that happens. And it's not like it's not a show. It's just we're noise.
Right.
And that feeling sucks. That feeling sucked. It sucked so hard that like we started declining gigs once we heard like who Snarky Puppy was and started writing on a level where we're not just playing music, we're creating art. And there's a difference between that and like from the writing styles, from once you start to go to, okay, I'm playing this chord, but like, why am I playing this chord? Does this make sense? Theoretically, does this start making sense when it comes down to like how you portray the art and how the emotions come off in music too? So we started writing a bunch of stuff, and from then we started looking for musicians. We found, drummers and different people to fill in the blanks because we needed a lot of people for the stuff that was going on in our heads, and still do. Still do.
You keep adding.
Oh my God, yeah. 9-piece jazz fusion band right now, and I'm really cool with that number. I don't want to go anywhere, no higher, no less. Like I'm straight. Like 9 is A1 since day one, unless there's another. I don't know. I don't know. I got one idea. I'm gonna keep that quiet though.
All right.
I don't know yet. But even from then, it's like our first album that we put out. We finally put that out last summer in 2018. Stranger Things Have Happened, and now that's on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, all sorts of different stuff that you can find it on. But like that music was all like the research and development of like how to write fusion music. You know what I'm saying? How in the world are we going to like create this thing? How do we start? Because that music is nowhere near on the level that what we heard that inspired us, but it did inspire us, and that was the important thing. And that just segued us to this next piece, and finding the musicians. It really did take about 3 years to find solidified musicians to being able to not only play the music, to write the music, but to record it and record it successfully. And that alone was a challenge. And how do you put 8 people in a studio and say, let's all do this thing and go, let's do it. First time, boom. No, it was an absolute L. I mean, I remember the first time we went to the studio and we recorded this song, and we had all these sorts of ideas of how to do it and yada yada yada. We fell on our face with nothing to show for it, like nothing that we wanted. And that session isn't cheap.
Right, yeah.
Overall, you spent like over almost $1,000 on a studio session. You've been there all day. You've been working hard. You've been preparing for this thing, and you fall flat on your face. But like that learning experience creates the ability for you to know how to maneuver in that space. Because if you don't know how to move and you don't know what works and what's not going to work, you don't have a system for success. So, I tell people all the time, it's like, yeah, well, we're good, but we failed,
Right.
and that's okay.
Like everybody else in the world, they all fail to succeed.
I mean, that's one of the things that we always kind of talk about is what was one of your most important failures or disappointments that propelled you to success.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great example of one right there. Is you guys learned. I mean, it was an expensive lesson.
Oh
you
my
guys
God,
learned
yeah.
how to record in a studio and how to do it.
And it not only just got us tighter as how to record and how to be what we weren't tight on. It taught you a lot more than that. It got the connection between like your boys, like the guys that you're recording with, a lot tighter too, because you're relying on not only their ability to play, but you're relying on their energy that entire time.
Right.
And, you locked in there for 12 hours. What you gonna do? You're like people can get on each other's throat. It could be be tension. And it's like even people being hungry like can throw off an entire thing. It's like taking time to make sure that you get breaks in, to check on each other, to worry about like mental stability. I'm talking about like, hey, bro, I know you didn't get this. It's all good. You got this. Pump each other up when you need to. Like you got to be everybody's hype man. And once we finally finished the record, I'm talking like we recorded this thing in 2016. That was the first L, right? First L, 2016. we had to scrap the whole beginning part. I think I still have this song somewhere in the email. It's way down in the archive. It's way down there. I mean, that song was Chicago Nights, you know, and Chicago Nights the first time was rough, like terrible, and it didn't come off the right way. The second time we went, we did most of it, then had to fix some other things later on in some other sessions, and like still. There are things that drive me nuts about that song to this day. And I'm like, I never want to hear the song again ever. People ask, oh man, play Chicago Nights. I'm like, no.
How about we play this?
No, like we got new, way better content. But like that L really just took us to the point where in 2018 when we finished up the album, we went to a whole different studio because we had problems with certain engineers at the one that we went to first. We had problems with the mixing at the place that we went to, and that was also a learning curve of what do we want to hear in our mixes, what do we want to hear in our own music. And we went to a different studio and banged out the rest of it with a whole different lineup of cats to play the album. It was a whole different lineup as far as, especially with the horn section, because the horn section was so pivotal in like finding those players at Western and being able to be like, you know, what we know. You know, I'm not trying to like teach you something. You're just like, oh yeah, what was it? Oh, got it, cool. Or it's written out. Oh, got it, perfect. You know, when you
Just
can
pick up and go with it rather than you having to show them the way.
Yeah, man. I was like, I used to spend hours just like teaching like certain things to like some bandmates and just, oh, it's like this. We gotta have it like this. You don't know it? I'll come pick you up. Where you at? Let's figure it out. That used to be a regular thing. And you know, nowadays, you know, you could whisper something to these guys and they're like, oh yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Already 2 steps ahead.
Hey man, can you play a? Yeah, and they're already on it.
So would you say that like there's probably like this fine line between sitting there, like you said, being there for the other bandmates and not necessarily walking them through it, but like helping them get to the point where they need to be, and then there's also a point where like you said, it's wasting too much time.
Yeah, there's a balance. Everybody sucks at something, right?
Right.
You know, every musician, every person. It's like being married to somebody. Married to somebody, no one's perfect. You don't have everything together. You know what I'm saying? But the majority of it, you hitting check marks. That's the point. You check this off, that off, the next one, and you're like, well, you're working on this, but I can kind of help you and maneuver through that little part. Or this is mostly there, and I see that you're striving towards this. And that's how everybody is. It's like this stuff I'm working on that daily I am hitting the keys and like trying to make sure I don't suck. You know, that's it. And same thing for everybody. That could be like feel-wise. You're not as swaggy as like with your approach to playing a solo. You're rushing, you rush a little bit, or you have all this sorts of knowledge and you just spew it out instead of artistically create it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't, no one likes to hear like hacking over something. You know, we want to hear something that has a little bit more intent. So like everybody's working on that. And I think every time somebody does it, the whole band checks one another very quickly. And we're pretty harsh.
How much do you think you guys' cohesiveness and skill has been attributed to practice?
Bro, we practice Sunday having a full rehearsal. If we need a special like keyboard sectional, a sectional, that'll be on Wednesdays. Rhythm section, which is keys, bass, guitar, and keys, bass, guitar, will be on Fridays, and then again, horn section will be on Saturdays. So like that's the rotation for
4 or 7 days.
There's like at
someone
least
is practicing.
Yeah, at least 3 rehearsals a week, and then 4 rehearsals if necessary for that extra keyboard sectional. Because like, it's a lot. People will be like, oh man, y'all are tight, y'all are locked. We better be. We better be. We've been doing this for a while.
I mean, there's a reason you guys are like that though. It's because you put in the work, you put in the time.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't come just by like, you know, gelling with each other and being like, oh yeah, we just, you know,
We just go out there and play?
No. There's a lot of knowledge that's built over even just like you don't have the reps, it's not going to happen.
Well, I think going to a couple of your shows, I think one of the things that you can see that is not just practice, but it is how you guys kind of like see visual cues from each other.
Yeah.
And like, it is jazz, so it may not always be the same every single time.
Right,
But like
yeah.
you guys kind of like, you'll look up and you'll nod at Braulio, and then he'll play something a certain way. You just kind of mix it up, and that only comes from how much you guys practice together. Because if you don't have that feel for each other,
You're gonna know what that means,
yeah,
right?
you'll be like, what the hell's he doing?
Right.
Yeah, cool. It's just like
Yeah.
like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. They have that connection where they could just alley oop and do all these weird things. It's the same thing.
Oh my God, yeah. Especially with the rhythm section, like the rhythm section has to be super locked, like tight.
The
It's
core
like,
of the
it's the structure of the song. You know what I'm saying? If keys, bass, and drums are not on one accord, nothing's on one accord. Like, because that means the rhythm of it is off, and it's like you could just play something a beat late, and you're like, oh dang, I was lagging, or I wasn't paying attention, or I wasn't counting. It's like people remember like band class, and you'd be tapping your foot just like this, and they'd be like, count. People think that stuff is corny. You had to when you playing. Bro, I'm over here counting. I'm in my head like focusing. We have songs written in like 13/8 time signature. This isn't common time. Like you have to focus on stuff. Like there's no way you can be able to catch it. And you gotta practice it. Have to.
Yeah, well, like when you were at Bell's, I remember you and Braulio were talking about when the strobe was going off, it was messing you up because you couldn't visually see
Oh,
the drums.
Yeah.
But
But you
so
pulled
much
it
of it.
off.
You pulled it off, but you guys were struggling because of the strobe was hitting just right, and it was messing up the visuals.
It was like literally me looking at this thing like I'm trying to see his hand. I'm trying to see his hand, and the lights going. It's all over the place. Anthony's snapping off. He's going crazy, and I was like, okay. Now I can't portray that to y'all during the show. So I'm like, okay, I'm still like, yeah.
right.
In my head, I'm like,
Did he just go down?
I'm trying to see his downbeat. I'm like, please hit the kick drum so I know where the one is. Please. And like he hit 1, 2, 3. And I was like, I barely caught it. Barely. I think it was like a tad bit late, but we made it work. And then, he took it off from there. But it's one of those things. It's like you have to be locked with them, and you have to communicate.
Right.
Because there's so much happening on one stage, where if you're just lost in the sauce, you're gonna be lost.
Too much.
Well, I think this last time that we went, we were up right up front, just seeing your movement around the stage, how everyone's communicating. Like I think when you don't realize that happens, you miss it completely. But like we're sitting there watching you're giving everyone cues, you're getting cues from other people, and it's just there's a lot of communication that goes on, and you wouldn't assume that happens.
Yeah, you
Right.
package it up as like a production.
Right.
Like you said,
Yeah.
you can't portray that to the audience.
Right.
So you got to kind of do it in a different way. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man, it's a process, and I think it's still one that grows every day, and every week by practice we're trying to get like a little bit tighter in one section than the other. Plus, the writing nowadays is like way different, even from the first project. That's crazy. Yeah, stuff is nuts.
You guys definitely
Kicked it up a
evolved.
notch.
Yeah. Just like I always liked.
It's just more intense, I feel, because you guys can do more because you have your consistent players in the band. You know what they're all going to be able to do and what they're capable of.
Right.
And like
the
the horns now.
Yeah, the horns in your guys' band.
Oh, they don't make no sense. They don't make no sense. They're so good. Oh man, Quinn and Brent are like two dogs. Like Quinn is like the most swaggy saxophone player, and he's just kind of he'll sit in that good pocket, and he knows when to play and when to play less, and that's his spacing is like perfect for anything that he plays. And then Brent has got so many chops. It's so stupid. It's like it's as a horn player, he is a monster. Like he is an absolute monster, and he knows it too. And he's like, yeah, I'm working on it.
He whipped off the shades after his solo. He said, "Oh, yeah, I killed that."
Yeah, he's nuts. He's nuts, and that section alone and made it so we could write other stuff. Because like if you're writing towards ability, you're never gonna grow.
Right.
You know, and that was where, you know, we were like, okay, well, we need to write something more towards like this sort of sound, and our previous horn players couldn't do it.
Right.
And it sucked because we're getting ready to stretch ourselves, but we couldn't stretch until they stretched, or until we were like, okay, that's enough. We're gonna get people that can stretch.
Right. You really are as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah, and it showed. Man, it showed, because you could kill. You could have a great show with like that horn line. It could be something so simple. It's flat. It's out of tune. It came in just a hair late, and you're like, man, I've been busting my behind trying to get this stuff together. Like nobody, like if you don't have the same reciprocation, you can't do it. And that goes with anything. It's like that same principle translates to every single thing that happens. And I get that stuff from karate all day, because we work hard for every little technique that we know how to do. And if you in line working out, you next to the person, you know, another person that's working out, if they over here not really caring, going through the motions, you gonna go through the motions.
Right.
Your whole front line got to be on point. That drives the entire class to get better. That drives everybody to push hard and work out with 100%. And if that's not happening, you're not gonna get it.
Right. That's another reason I wanted to kind of get you on after we had that conversation the other day.
Yeah.
Just because of the mental and mentality you have. Like you said, karate has taught you a lot. Like, what other things has karate taught you to help you, I guess, in life, in the band, or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's mainly the discipline piece, man. It's like I don't have a quit inside of me. Like I don't have one. If I want something, it's gonna happen. And I don't care if I've got to come out of pocket. If I'm not, bruh, there's been times where I paid for stuff like that had to do with music where I didn't eat as well as I should have. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care. Like it wasn't about that. I was like, I ain't got no quit in me. I don't care if I'm eating ramen today. Like I'm cool. Like, and people would be like, man, you out here doing it. And I'm like, yeah, I got to. It's because it's the only way I know how. Right. You know, I've done martial arts since 2005, and I was in 5th grade then. And I've been doing it ever since. Doug Walker is my martial arts instructor, and he pushed me to the point where, you know, it was either make or break. That was it. And I've always had a heart, so it wasn't about heart, but like he pushed me to a higher level a higher expectation than everybody else, because he saw potential in me. Yeah. And because of that, you know, I got pushed the hardest when I was killing everybody. I was like, okay, I was like intermediate belt, right? And, you know, some higher ranks than me, they having problems with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like fighting wise, they can't keep up. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm driving the class as the intermediate, and not the advanced. Or, you know, it's just one of those situations. And Doug took it upon himself to like push me even harder than everybody. Usually it takes around like 6.5 years to get your black belt. Doug made it so that was a 9.5 year journey.
Oh, yeah.
9.5 year journey. But are you gonna quit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is it about the belt or is it about the knowledge? That's real. That's real. Like, is it about like you getting to the point where you want to be, or do you not have the knowledge to get there? Because if you want the success, you want to be able to do all these things, you have to have the mental fortitude to stick with it. And that stuff didn't come from just being like, oh yeah, I just have it. No, I didn't just have it, man. When I got into martial arts because my parents put me in there because I was a wimp. Like every time I got hit, man, Brandon, here you go, sobbing, crying, sobbing, like mess, snotting, annoying. It was like, you know, having one of the most annoying kids in a room that just, you know, if something happens, you know he's gonna wimp out about it. And my dad put me in there because he did martial arts a little bit, and he was like, you know what, this would be good. And it turned me into like something crazy, like a monster, like on some good stuff, on a good tip. Not only with like fighting and being able to do that, or self-defense or knife defense, all this other stuff that I know how to do, but like it also with the mental piece, right, yep. I just don't care what's going on. Like I remember I got into an altercation in high school, and this is probably the funniest thing, man. This was 9th grade, green belt, intermediate. this dude in my class had this issue with me or whatever. I'm not even gonna go into the whole story, but layman's terms, he swung on me and I let him hit me, and he hit me right here in the left jaw, and he took the hardest swing. I saw it coming. It was a haymaker. It's so easy to block. Could have, if I wanted to, could have messed him up, but I let him hit me. It was his hardest punch. Let's see what happens. And on my head, pow! I look at him. I was like, "That's all you got."
Oh my! You whipped the sunglasses. That's all you got.
That's when it started.
Seriously, this is a true story. Like people from my health class remember that. Oh man!
But deep down, did it hurt?
No,
you
Doug is whooped my. We in class. I don't think y'all know. Like we fight. You know what I'm saying? Like we've gotten hit so many times that like that stuff doesn't do.
It's a contact.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. Like you don't have those sorts of feelings when you get hit. When you get hit, it energizes you, and all you want to do is say, "I can transfer that energy to something different." You know, and that's what. It's just one of those. Passing the batons when it comes to energy.
So it's not just like because karate and martial arts is about using kinetic energy to help you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even just the physical; it's the mental.
It's the mental, yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, martial arts is literally about three things. It's the unification of mind, body, and spirit. And if you are not on one accord, you are not in your place, and that's it. You're not where you're supposed to be in life. That's just period. If you feel unequally yoked with your own self, and some people don't even understand that concept. The fact that they have selves. I have a body, but my body has to be in accord with my spirit. My spirit has to be in accord with my mind. Like that's just how you have to feed yourself. And when you feed yourself those thoughts every day, it's like I am this. I will become this. That's all you're trying to do is become. Your spirit is already seeing what all this stuff is seeing. Your body and your mind are trying to catch up to your spirit.
Okay.
That's it. You just life is about literally trying to catch up to where you've already seen. I explain this concept like this: your mind and your body are physical things. So you house a body. As you are a spirit, you house a body. With that being said, your spirit does not live in this dimension. Your spirit doesn't live within a construct of time. That's called deja vu. You see yourself do something, your spirit's already seen it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's already been understood. That's happened before. And you're like, man, what is this? You've already been here. Like, but your spirit, your body down here, right? Your spirit looks at your life from A to Z, looking at it up here. And that's how I can visualize what that means. Is when things happen and your mind, body, and spirit are on the same page, that's that lining up. That's you being on one accord. Those are called very opportune moments. Those are kairos moments. Kairos moments means something that the construct is not in time. Chronological time, obviously, man invented. Kairos time is spiritual understanding of your time construct. It's like when people say the Bible is, they talk about the Bible and the creation of the world in 7 days. Those aren't 7 actual days. Those are Kairos days.
Okay.
It's just knowledge, whatever.
Right.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, I mean, I can kind of, to me, I kind of translate that to, like, if you visualize something, you visualize success for Minor Element, you, Brandon, do that. You see yourself on a big stage performing, maybe not in an arena, but your ideal situation. And that's your spirit seeing that.
Yeah,
right.
And then your mind and body have to pay the dues to get to there.
Sure do.
And so, I mean, that reminds me, like I saw that, I heard that today, if you want to live your best life, which is living it the way you want to do, you got to pay the dues now.
Right.
That spirit.
And that's the spirit has seen that, and your mind and body got to get it there.
Yeah.
And so the mind, the dedication, the discipline, the body, the actual ability to do it.
Right.
And, so, I mean, I guess it's a little layman analogy to that, I would say.
No, absolutely, man. It's like a lot of people just don't understand how it translates, and they ask about how it correlates to music. And it's not, it's a life skill. It's that you have to understand that you are working to become. That's it. And they're like, become what? And I'm like, become you.
Well, and I mean, like, for you guys, music is not a hobby. It
It's
is
a
your
job.
it is your life. It is what you want to do. So you can't treat it like a hobby. That's
No.
why you guys are as good as you guys are, because you treat it like a job and what you would love to do.
Yeah.
You
Not
practice
just-
4 times a week.
Not just playing guitar on the weekend,
Right.
or whenever I feel
Chilling
like
at the crib, breaking out my guitar,
Yeah.
singing songwriter. No, we spend so many hours like practicing. Like sometimes I'll practice different stuff. So like obviously I'm practicing like theory and understanding like theoretical concepts and working on theoretical concepts to make sure that I can understand it on my hands. But also like it's like you're practicing things like okay, if I'm playing a grand, does it feel different than playing my keyboard? Both keys are weighted, but the grand is heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So stuff that you can do on your keyboard, you can't necessarily do on the grand because you haven't had the weight training, and that stuff is all right in your forearm. Like I've caught so many cramps playing before. Like I have like one of these chops that I pull out is like me doing like this hyper, like I'll do a chord and literally hyper notes, and I'm going like this fast. It's so stupid. Like, and it's all a chord, and I'll like change chords and like go that fast and like vibrate the keys like this, and that takes so much energy to do in your forearm. First time I was jamming with Braulio after like music theory in college, we were doing something like that, and I was playing something. We were killing it. We were just playing. And I caught this cramp, and I was done. I was done. This was back in like 2012. I was like, man, I'm done. It's a wrap.
So like what you were saying is the keys are different. So could you do that on a grand?
I can now.
You can
Because
now.
I practice on a grand at least 3 times like a week. You know what I'm saying? So I like to have dedicated time for like synthesizer practice, dedicated time for like grand, dedicated time for theory, asking questions, just looking up research and doing a bunch of other study. Because you have to be multifaceted.
Yeah.
Like there's no way as a keyboardist you can just be like, oh man, yeah, I just do this. I just show up and do this.
I play Merrily Has a Little Girl.
Oh my god! and you can do that crazy. You can do that nuts. I can play that too. This is gonna sound completely different. It's gonna sound like one of the sweetest songs you've ever heard. And like, man, what are these chords you're playing? Like, how did you manage to work? We practice, man. We have the discipline, and we hold each other accountable. Like we be on each other's behinds. Like, yo, what did you fix that? Did you start working on that? Hey, bro, you suck today. Like we are ruthless with each other. Like we don't care. I think and the whole label has that whole mentality.
That's good though.
You know, if a song sucks that somebody's working on, we're not gonna say it's fire because it's your boy. Like,
Right.
So when we talk about art and we talk about music in the community, and we're like, okay, this is not hitting. You know what I'm saying? And people get mad at us. They get really upset because we're honest, and we're like, no, this is not good yet. And they'll be like, man, support local art, support this, and I'm like, I am supporting you by telling you what to look.
Right.
I'm not gonna be. I don't do fake love. I don't do that. Like if it's not at that level, it's not at that level, and that's fine. But as long as you're working towards that level, that's cool. Is people take offense by it so much that they think like we're out to be these cocky, and we're the most down to earth people. And at the end of the day, all we're saying is like, hey, there's some knowledge that we can try to give you to make this better so you don't make this happen again. And it's like we said, we took L's. We did that.
Yeah.
We had the failures. We've had the struggle, like for real, on all parts, hip hop, jazz, all the stuff. Like, man, there's been so many times we've been like, oh man, why did we even do this? Like, this sucks. But it makes it better.
We said that many times. Like, honest feedback is the only way anybody gets better.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause
Anything.
we always have our friends come in and be like, oh, they're great. We're like, were they really great? Or are you just telling us that? Because if it's not, let us know so we can
Right.
fix it. Because
Mhm.
I don't want everyone to tell us we're great and then
Right.
it turns out someone that doesn't like it, and then we're like, well, what the hell? What's wrong with them?
Right.
Maybe we are doing something wrong,
Right.
And someone didn't tell us. I mean, like at the poetry jam, I remember one of the guys got done, and one of the guys from the label that wasn't performing that night he asked me, he was like, well, how was it? He goes, well, I got some notes. But that's like the family.
Yeah.
When you guys say odd family, you guys are a family, and like you can say that. You can be like, well, hold on, I got some notes for you. You need to work on a couple of things.
Clean it up.
Yeah,
Clean
I mean,
it
it's
up.
just, but like you said, this is holding each other accountable to raise the level.
Mm.
Because if everybody just tells you you're good, you're not going to work harder to get better.
Bro, it's like that saying from The Incredibles. What was it? If everyone's special, no one is.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I came out in 2004. I remember that to this day. That's my favorite kids movie. It's just it's my stuff. Hated the second one, but it's okay. We're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it. But it's just like, you know, you have to understand that like there is a level and a bar, and if we start to let the bar dilapidate and it starts being diminished, we are literally kicking yourself in the foot by that. You know, that's not cool. Like if we're gonna say this is like industry standard, what, like even for coffee, you know what I'm saying? It's like y'all know it's like this good blend of all the stuff that y'all have is not by, you know, oh man, yeah, everybody just loved it and we just lucked up. It's by time and time again of trying a new one and like saying, hey, how's it? Well, this is almost there, and it's like, there's something that's missing, and then it needs to add this, and all of a sudden you add something, and boom, everything comes right into alignment where it's supposed to be. But it's not gonna happen by people being like, great.
Exactly.
That's not cool, man. Like let's be real with artists, and coffee is an art, like literally.
Everything is an art form.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that with Braulio. You can literally make anything an art form. There's levels. There's for sure levels to everything that is done in life. Like we compare it in music terms. It's like you got a guitarist, a musician, then you got an artist.
Or just the trumpeteers.
Or just the trumpeteers, yeah.
Right.
Like,
well, I mean, there's the different level between somebody who can mechanically play instrument and somebody who can put that soul behind the instrument.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And those are two different sounds, and it's almost two different instruments.
It really is, like, because man, there's so many classically trained pianists that I've met. You know, they can play some crazy stuff, but then at the end of the day, if you ask them to play something that's like super easy, not written out, they don't know what to do.
That's because they read.
Yeah,
they read and play.
And I'm like, that's not coming from a place. That's where it sucks. And like you're like, man, this is not coming out of yourself. And when you hear something, you want to be able to not only replicate what you hear, but you also want to replicate what you feel. And if you don't feel the same way when you play, that's what's the point of playing? I don't understand it.
I kind of feel that way when an artist will do a cover of another song and they're like, oh, well, this one's better. It's like they're different. Right. Same song,
right? Different
feelings behind the song. And so it doesn't necessarily mean one's better than the other. It's just one means something different to that person.
Right. And I mean, every song can sound different to somebody else. Like the meaning behind, that's the cool thing about our music too, is it's all instrumental. And there are no words to skew your perception of what this means. So like everything that you hear is something that you can interpret by yourself, and it means different. It's something different to everybody else that's hearing the same thing. And like, there was a girl that came up to us after the show, and she was like, "Yo, y'all music really just pushed me to a good place." She said, "I was in a really rocky place, and I wasn't feeling like myself, and I decided to come to your show anyways, and like this spiritually helped me." That's a girl that was going through like serious like depression type of problems, and that can get to a real dark road. Did I write this with the intent of that? No. But could it have translated on that energy? Yeah. Yes. And that's the beauty of like just instrumental music, that it literally how we play and what we play and what we extract out of ourselves, and when we do it each night is different. It's the same structure, but it's a different show every single night. And like depending on what I'm supposed to play in that moment and what comes out is all incumbent upon how we're able to be lucid as people, and I can't do that being a mechanic. Like it's not gonna work.
Is that what drew you towards jazz, I guess, in the first place? It's because it's off the cuff. It's one of my funniest quotes from The Office is like, "I don't like jazz. Why don't they just play the notes? There's a song, play the notes." But that's what's beautiful about jazz, is it can be whatever you want it to be. And
I think for me as a kid, like I've always loved jazz. it wasn't like, someone had to push it on me. I heard it and I was like, this is cool. Like, this is what I rock with. And I'm talking like some old school bebop, like, John Coltrane, Charlie Parker type, whatever, And I was a kid listening to jazz and classical. If anybody like listens to any of the videos I put up sometimes every now and then, they're mostly like classical type of vibes. Like I play jazz, but like my own personal, like when I'm just playing, is usually skewed more towards the classical side of piano. And it's kind of weird because like I just have like these two opposing things I always meet up in the middle somewhere. When I'm soloing, it's more like this is clearly some jazz. And like when I'm playing like grand, I'm always playing something classical. Like I don't even know why, but it's for me. My influences have always been, Hey Arnold, shout out to Jim Lang. Jim Lang, the music producer of that show, is awesome. He's a genius. So as a kid, always listening to cartoons or watching cartoons, like hearing the music was something that was important. And when I heard it, I always thought, I was like, wow, what is that? How did he go to that transition? You listen to some of the stuff on Hey Arnold, the show, like it's nuts. Like he's just making really good jazz, and it's like, wow, this is dope. And I was a kid watching the show, and that drew me to have an affinity towards that. Now, when it comes to other jazz, I've always been playing at church. So church is like gospel plus, jazz chop plus, there's slight classical stuff you might actually do in like a black church, but like, it's always been there. It's never been hard to find a love for it.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Where is your favorite place to play? I know you've had gigs all over Canada, Michigan, other places. Where's you, Brandon?
Jesus.
Leader of the B Sharps. Where's your favorite place to play?
That was what's up his sleeve, to be sure.
Hey. I think, oh man, that's a hard question. Like, I'm thinking about all the places we played. I'm going to go to some of my favorite shows, just off rip. One of them is Bells. It's cool. Bells is like my number 3 out of, I got 3. That's my lowest third. Bells is really cool. Awesome soundboard, great. You just hear yourself. The engineers are awesome, and everything just works out. They're very, they're hospitable. They're amazing. They love it over there. Really nice, small, quaint place to have a good show. I think my next place that was like super fun was the Flint Alley Festival. We went and played in the Buckham Alley Festival in Flint, and that was like super dope. And they had like a lot of stages, but like we were on one stage of the alley. There was another stage at the alley. Obviously, opposite ends play at different times, and it was just killing. It was a really fun vibe, and had a good time. My favorite place in general, though, is, smallest little spot, like literally smaller than this place, like space-wise. Gotta be Fog Lounge in Windsor, in Canada. That was like, I think I played one of my craziest solos ever there, and the energy was just so much fun. And the people in Canada, they love music different. They love music different than we do, and like they can feel this. They're like, yo, I respect this because I know what you're doing. Like I actually see the ridiculousness that this whole band is bringing to the table. And it's just so much fun to be able to play a show like that where people have respect for what's happening. Like you hear people that tour, some artists will be like, oh man, yeah, we went to, we were in Europe touring and it was like completely different than the US. It's completely playing something different than the US because people will literally, they won't even clap, they won't move, they're just sitting there like glued, like they're not going anywhere. Because they are so laser focused on what's happening. They have such a respect for like musicians. Here, you could play like, people go viral for playing, a 4-chord song in a mall, and like they'll see you and they'll be like, "Yeah, I heard you playing the other day." And I'm like, "You just shared this, but you forgot to share." Okay, it's
my
weird.
practice.
Yeah, it's
My
weird.
warm-up.
Yeah, like literally, I don't. This is me even sitting down, touching it. It's interesting. So like they have a high respect for musicians, just anywhere that's not the United States. So like honestly,
Damn.
like I'm serious. I'm serious. This is different. It's a different culture. I'm not knocking here.
So how do we change that culture?
Well, you got to force it on them, like, and that's what we do. That's why Blvcksheep is Blvcksheep. Blvcksheep is not just because it sounds cool; it's because of who we are as people. We are not made for this system, and that includes music in this area. So to break part of that system, you have to infiltrate the system. You can't change the system until you become the system. You know. So in order to be and do that, you have to. That's what we did. We stopped playing banquet stuff where we were the background musicians. Right. We stopped doing all this other stuff. We demanded respect. We demanded pay. We demanded all this other stuff. I remember people, you know, I used to charge for gigs. I'd be like, "Oh, well, we only have like a $200 budget." I was like, "Absolutely not." And I started having to decline people and just tell them, "No, you're going to either respect us or leave us," and that's it. And because around this town, like you have this thing that people don't want to pay for service, and there's this free mentality, like something should just be handed to me because we're at least giving. I used to hear the craziest saying, "We're giving you guys exposure." I'm like, who are you exposing me to? You like who? Like because
especially if you're the background,
right? Like, there is no exposure here. Like so, exposure is not payment. Like that's. It's frowned upon as like you have to pay people for a service if they're good at what they're doing. The Bible even talks about that. Every laborer is worthy of his or her hire. Literally, everybody that works should get paid. If you're doing something, it should not be for free. That's facts. I don't come here and ask for a free cup of coffee because that's crazy. Like,
it's true.
Everything costs money. So like we had to demand that sort of respect and demand the attention. So once we started demanding attention and saying, "Look, you're either going to pay attention to me as a spotlight or we're not playing at all," and they'll be like, "Oh, dang, well, I guess we'll make something work, or we can do this and that." And after a lot of those times, here we are now. We're starting to play like gigs regularly that are like all the time. Spotlight is on the band as the band is, not asking us to do covers. You're not asking us to do like. Even that is like, okay, like I feel where people coming from. They just want to hear like the music that they love.
They just want to hear Old Town Road.
Right,
right. Never listen to our requests.
Oh my god! You know what? I'm gonna strike up something like real. Right. I'm gonna strike up something real stupid and just like flip it into some jazz and like, okay, we're gonna turn this into our song. Right. But like people, oh man, play Earth, Wind and Fire. Did you know September? And, dun, 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 dun. And I'll be like, obviously I can play it, but like that's not what we do. If you want to listen to Earth, Wind and Fire, go to Earth, Wind and Fire. Like that's not us. They hear horns and they're like, "Oh man, but you all can do it." It's always the old cats too. Old heads want to hear the old time music, and I'm like, that's cool, but that's not us. And like, you have to respect what's changing in a different direction, and in order to do that, you have to leave some people behind. So to answer the question, we are changing the culture one gig at a time. Literally, it's one
day by day.
Yeah.
So when is your next guy's gig that's around this area?
Shoot. Let me see. I think we're trying to put something on. I think the 31st of May. Yeah, I know y'all won't be here. Y'all are gonna be doing your thing. It's gonna be dope. And y'all gotta let me know how that goes. It's gonna be dope.
Oh, we will. We'll bring home that trophy.
Yeah.
My spirit just saw it.
Hey. But yeah, I think we're trying to do like a free show over at First Congregational, and that's where we practice.
That's just here downtown, right?
Yeah. So we're trying to do a free show over there, and that's probably gonna, it's most likely going to be on the 31st. We'll keep everybody in the loop online and all that stuff. We just think that, from being able to be a part of that community. Even the Battle Creek community doesn't get to see us as much as everywhere else. So hosting a free show and just kind of doing something cool for everybody would be dope. And then other than that, I don't know when we're playing in town, like, because right now we got a lot of gigs lined up everywhere else, like literally everywhere else. But we'll let you guys know when it's happening on Facebook, on Instagram, all this sort of stuff. There'll always be an ad out.
What kind of gigs would you like seeing in this area? Like, not
Just as a
specific-
lover of music.
yeah, not even like you, but like
Hip hop.
hip hop.
Bring hip hop over here. Like, you know, there's no hip hop scene at all. There's no jazz scene, but there's definitely no hip hop scene. And you know, this is
Hardly any scene.
exactly. There's no scenes here at all. Like, there's the rock scene that you can go listen to somebody scream. If you want to, you can. It's available. You can go down to the Music Factory and do that. But like, for the most part, like, they're starting to do a little bit of hip hop stuff over there, but it's not a specific niche for hip hop, and those artists have nowhere to perform. Those artists have nowhere to grow, because performance gives you growth. And if you want to see anybody make it, you have to start letting them grow. You have to give them room to grow, because if you shrink them into the grow inside this cup, you can't. Like, that's what they did. So the hip hop scene needs to evolve here, and I think people really need to start embracing, you know, hip hop, because it's so much beauty in that music that people don't understand. And I'm like, wow, it's like a really small-minded like mentality to say that, you know, it's profane or it's this, it's that. Well, listen to what's actually happening underneath a lot of this stuff. Like, first time I heard "To Pimp a Butterfly" by Kendrick Lamar, I tripped out. I was like, this is probably the most spiritual thing I've ever listened to, and it's deep. It's deeper than some of the, like, I've listened to some Christian rap that's not this deep. Like, and I'm like, this is not it. You gotta make room for this stuff to grow and become what it's trying to. The people around here, they have to let it happen, and that's at festivals or something. If there's a hip hop event or if there's a hip hop artist, let them perform. Right. If you gotta, you know, cut the profanity down and do something, that's fine. You know, don't say certain words. It's cool. Bleep those out. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, you can make it clean, but let them do it, because there needs to be a place for people to express that sort of art form, and especially being like the director of operations of Blvcksheep. Like, I really want to see that happen here, and even if we have to, you know, break down another wall and create it, you know, that's what we'll do. Years ago, we performed at the Breakfast Table, and we did. I mean, we've done that like 3 times, and we always did jazz and hip hop. Like, made sure to incorporate the hip hop side, because people need to know what's happening with that. So it'd definitely be something I want to see here.
Okay. Where can we find Blvcksheep or Minor Element online?
Blvcksheep is always going to be blvcksheepmusic.com. So you can check out our website, and then that has like everybody's music and all this stuff on it, and all the artist page, and you can kind of search and filter through there to see what's up. And then anywhere that you can find Minor Element in particular, like I said, still blvcksheepmusic.com, and our Facebook pages for Blvcksheep and Minor are both there. Instagram pages. We don't really do Twitters. We're not that. That's too much work. It's too. It's too quick. But everywhere else, you can definitely check us out.
Sweet. There's a project coming, no release date there, right?
Project coming, no release date. Odd Family. Odd Family is coming for Minor Element. That, look for that around September. September we'll have a full-length album of jazz fusion for everybody to love and enjoy. Right now we have an EP out called Stranger Things Have Happened. That's out on every platform. But you can check out the new album around September, and we'll obviously be posting about it. And y'all, I know y'all have seen like different stuff of us in the studio, and you know, different clips of things happening and things moving. But it's one of those things that's going to take a little bit of time to make sure that it's at the level where we want it to, and then also at the level where our fans can appreciate it on a scale that it doesn't get old. It's one of those classic things. It's just, oh man, I love this forever. That's it, you know. So it'll be out around September.
Sweet.
Look forward to it, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Loved everything I've heard off it so
Yeah.
far.
All right. I think that's it.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna wrap it up tonight. Brandon, thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Have fun.
I mean, this dude's down here all the time. We're just always chopping it up with him, and finally, good to get you on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most deaf.
Thank
Most
you.
deaf.
All right, sweet.
Thanks for
That's
having
it.
me.
As always,
Take
take
it
it easy.
Woo! Yeah.
I think honestly, probably.
Bro.